She never told you she chose you. She didn't have to. Her body already said it, in a language most men spend their entire lives never learning to read. You've been watching her face, waiting for words, looking for confirmation in what she says. But the decision she made about you, the real one, the quiet one, that was written in how she moved when she thought you weren't paying attention, in how she angled herself towards you when the room was full of other options, in the half-second pause before she pulled her hand away, in the way she laughed, not at the joke, but at you, like you were the thing she found unexpectedly delightful. Most men miss all of it, and the ones who miss it don't lose her slowly. They lose her all at once, without ever understanding what they failed to see. What you're about to learn is not about reading her. It's about finally being present enough to hear what she was already saying. Here's what almost nobody tells you about how a woman decides. She doesn't sit down and make a list. She doesn't reason her way to a conclusion and then announce it. Her decision, the one that actually matters, is made in her body before her mind has caught up. It happens in moments so small and so fast, they barely register as events at all. A slight lean, a softened jaw, a hand that finds its way toward you when it didn't have to go anywhere at all. The reason most men miss these signals isn't carelessness. It's that they've been conditioned to look for the wrong things. They watch for compliments, for direct eye contact, for the obvious verbal confirmation that she likes them. But when a woman has genuinely decided that you're worth keeping, the signals don't come through her words first. They come through something older and far more honest than language. They come through her body's instinctive response to your presence, and that response bypasses everything she might consciously choose to conceal. What this means is that by the time she actually tells you she cares, or shows it through visible, obvious gestures, she's already been showing you for weeks in ways you probably walked right past. And that is where the silent shift begins. The first signal almost always happens with her feet. This sounds strange, but it is one of the most reliable things researchers in social signaling have ever documented. When a woman is genuinely invested in someone, drawn to them at a level below conscious thought, her feet orient toward that person. Not her face, not her voice, her feet. Because feet don't perform. They don't participate in the careful social negotiation of attraction the way eyes and smiles do. They simply point in the direction of where she actually wants to be. If you've ever been in a group with her and noticed that even when she's talking to someone else, her body, specifically her lower half, keeps angling back toward you, that is not a coincidence. That is her nervous system communicating something her words may not be ready to say yet. The second signal is what happens to the space between you. Everyone carries an invisible boundary around their body, a radius they allow people to enter based on how safe and comfortable they feel. In crowded or unfamiliar environments, most people tighten that radius. But for a woman who has decided you're worth keeping, something almost opposite begins to happen. The space between her body and yours starts to quietly collapse. Not aggressively, quietly. She finds reasons to be physically near you that the situation doesn't quite require. She sits closer than the available space demands. She lingers after everyone else has already moved. She lets an accidental brush of the arm go uncorrected, because some part of her didn't actually want to correct it. That erosion of physical distance is her nervous system communicating trust. And trust, in a woman's emotional world, is more intimate than almost anything else she could offer. The third signal is what she does with her face when she doesn't know you're watching. There is a real difference between the expression a woman wears when she's performing for the room and the one she carries when she believes no one is paying attention. When a woman has decided someone matters to her, her resting face, the unguarded one, the one that exists in the moments between awareness, softens when she's around them. The low-level tension that people carry in social situations starts to release. Her jaw loosens. The slight furrow most people carry unconsciously between their brows disappears. She looks without trying to, like someone who is exactly where she wants to be. And if you've ever caught her in one of those unguarded moments and she didn't immediately recalibrate, if she just held your gaze a half-second longer than social norms technically require, she was showing you something she probably couldn't have put into words herself. And this is the part most people completely miss. The fourth signal carries the most psychological weight, and it has almost nothing to do with what most people associate with attraction. It's about how she mirrors you. Behavioral mirroring, the unconscious tendency to adopt the postures, gestures, and rhythms of someone we feel connected to, is one of the most deeply documented phenomena in human social behavior. It is driven by the same neurological systems that govern oxytocin release during genuine bonding. When a woman has decided she wants you in her life, her body begins to unconsciously synchronize with yours. She picks up her drink at the same moment you pick up yours. She laughs at the same beat. She shifts her weight when you shift yours. This doesn't happen with people she finds merely tolerable. It happens with people she has, on some level deeper than thought, already decided to let in. If you pay attention, not to what she's saying, but to how her body moves in relation to yours, you will see her decision written there, quietly and clearly, before she has consciously acknowledged it to herself. The fifth signal is the one she cannot fake, and it may be the most honest of all. It lives in the micro-expressions that cross her face in the split second before her social training catches up, before she decides how to respond, before she manages her reaction. There's a window, sometimes less than a quarter of a second, where what she actually feels registers on her face in its purest, most unfiltered form. And for a woman who has decided you're worth keeping, that window consistently holds one specific thing: softness. A quiet, unearned pleasure that exists before she has time to perform anything else. You'll catch it when you walk into the room before she realizes you've arrived. You'll catch it when you say something she finds genuinely funny, in the beat before she decides how much to laugh. That unguarded flicker, that half-second of unmanaged feeling, is as honest a signal as any human being is capable of producing. It cannot be rehearsed. It cannot be strategically deployed. It simply appears, and then it's gone, and most men never see it at all. But here's the question that should sit with you right now. Not whether she's showing you these signals, but whether you have been present enough to notice any of them. Because the uncomfortable truth most men have to sit with at some point is this: women often show their decision quietly and consistently for months before a man registers what has been happening right in front of him. She was never waiting for you to hear her words. She was waiting for you to see her. And the question is not whether she's decided you're worth keeping. The real question is whether you've been paying close enough attention to know. This next part is the one that changes everything. Everything described here: the feet, the space, the unguarded face, the mirroring, the micro-expressions. None of it is performance. That is the entire point. A woman who decides a man is worth keeping doesn't announce that decision with grand gestures. She writes it in the quiet, involuntary language of her body, because that language is more honest than anything she could consciously choose to show you. And the men who see it, who actually notice and respond to it with the same quiet attentiveness she's already extending, those are the men who earn something most others never do. They earn the experience of being genuinely chosen. Not pursued, not impressed. Chosen. There is a meaningful difference between those things. Most men are looking for confirmation they can hold on to. Something verbal, something explicit, something they can replay in their mind as proof. But she isn't built to give you that proof up front. The confirmation she offers first is written in a language that requires you to be present, attentive, and tuned to something quieter than words. If you miss it, if you spend all your attention waiting for the obvious signal, you will keep feeling uncertain about where you stand with her even when her entire body has already been giving you the answer. And here is what nobody talks about. The men she decides are worth keeping are almost never the loudest ones in the room. They are the ones who notice things, who catch the small shift in her expression before she says a word, who understand that her body is not performing for them, it is communicating with them. And that distinction changes everything about how they show up. When a man recognizes these signals for what they are, not as proof that he's won something, but as an invitation to meet her at the same depth she is already extending, that is when something real has a chance to begin. The decision she makes about you is never made in a single moment. It's assembled across dozens of quiet ones you may never have noticed were even happening. In how she moved when she thought the room wasn't watching, in what her unguarded face revealed before her awareness caught up, in the way her body quietly kept choosing to be near yours, even when it didn't have to be. What you do with this understanding is the real question, because recognizing these signals is only half of it. The deeper invitation is to become someone present enough that the woman in front of you actually feels seen, not studied, not analyzed, but genuinely witnessed in the moments she didn't know were visible. That quality is rarer than most men realize, and it may be the most quietly powerful thing a person can bring into any relationship. But there is a layer that goes deeper still. Because what happens inside a woman when she realizes a man not only noticed her signals, but responded to them without requiring her to make them explicit? That awakens something in her that is an entirely different story. And that story begins somewhere else. Have you ever felt a shift in someone before a single word was spoken, where something in you just knew something had changed? Tell me what that moment felt like. Drop it in the comments below.